Hi everybody, I'm Matej from the Environmental Perspectives and welcome to the Global News Monday. So today we're going to reflect on yesterday's day of yesterday, which was 20th March, and that is the spring equinox. So on the basis of that, today is the first full day of spring. So first of all, I wish you all happy spring in whatever the spring mean for you. And in this video we'll explore different perspectives of spring and what does it mean for different people. Also in the end I'll have a few questions for you, so make sure to stay tuned until the end of the video. But spring is something that's very hard to describe and capture, and that's why we'll start with one poem. And in preparation of this video I actually came across quite a lot of poems with which have spring as a topic, but the one that is definitely the best in capturing the spirit of spring is a poem by Ratko Zvrko, who is a Croatian boxer and journalist, and he wrote the song Call of the Spring. So I translated it in a kind of free fashion, so I put more emphasis to maintain the spirit of the song and fluency, and I was not so concerned with exact words. So I'll read it to you and I hope you're gonna like it. So, Call of the Spring. After long cold winter, spring breaks the seams. Dare to awake, forgotten your dreams. And follow me. Between daily showers, I guide the swallows through the kingdom of flowers. Under my sun is born circle of new streams. Under my sun, blossom will your dreams. Okay, so I think that that song is great in a way that it captures the spring. Besides that, what is spring actually? So it's one of the four seasons, and it's positioned between spring equinox, which is a moment when day and night are of equal length, and throughout the spring days continue to be longer and longer until the summer solstice, which marks the moment when days are the longest, nights are the shortest, and the summer solstice marks the end of spring and the beginning of summer. So this year the spring equinox was yesterday on the 20th of March at 4:33 p.m. Greenwich Standard Time. So yesterday we entered the spring. What is important to point out is that this concept of four seasons is something that's based on temperate regions of the Earth, and because tropical regions and polar regions have different patterns of seasonality. Changes in length of the day, of course, also influence change in temperature, and that in turn causes changes for many living organisms who become more active and wake up from their winter hibernation phase. So seeds of the plants sprout and many plants flower, and animals are more active in search of the food. Birds are also much more active, and they start to mark their territory and announce their presence, and they're doing this in part through singing of the songs. So in spring we regularly expect to hear more bird songs. Similarly to biology, we also have a certain seasonality in business. So for instance, if if your work is very seasonal in nature, then the spring is time of preparation of equipment or whatever else is required in order to execute the busy summer season with more efficiency. But even if your work is not seasonal in nature, you could say that every project is kind of seasonal because it starts as a new idea. At that point in time, there's a lot of energy and enthusiasm, but maybe not that many results. So for instance, I launched this YouTube channel today, and it will be interesting to see how it will change and mature through seasons and years. In addition to these three perspectives, it's also important to remember that for each individual person, spring has a specific meaning. So for one person, it can mean the beginning of the new tennis season or opportunity to participate in a hiking event like the Papuk Primrose hiking event, or simply time for new challenges. For somebody else, it can be time of spiritual awakening. For a third person, spring can be much more practical in a way that it marks the requirement to do 2 weeks of fruit tree pruning, which has to be done in spring. So different people have different associations related to spring. For me personally, the beginning of the spring is marked by those days that when you're in nature and suddenly you start to feel some new smells like earth smell, and in combination with sunshine and this light breeze, those all create this magical mix of experiences that's kind of very spring specific to me. And they don't that atmosphere doesn't last long, but I notice it every year, and it's definitely a sign that spring is finally here. But there is another association to spring which is very important, especially for people who work in the environmental sector, and it's also related to bird song and to certain wordplay. So basically we said that we all expect to hear birds singing in the spring, and more than 6 decades ago one woman also expected to hear birds singing around her, but on that particular spring she hasn't heard any birds, and she wondered why is it so. So to find the answer, she spoke with a lot of people, and lay people, experts from different walks of life, and she examined the facts. She established some truths. She also reflected all those findings within her value system, and on the basis of this she wrote a book. And because that book had many revolutionary findings, she faced a lot of criticism from the established industries of that time. And the name of that book is Silent Spring, and the name of that woman is Rachel Carson, and that story will be topic of our next episode, and we'll present it on the Wise Wednesday, which is 2 days from now, so make sure you're also present on that day. In the meantime, enjoy the spring, wherever does spring represent to you. Have fun with it. And now we are getting close to the end, so I'll ask you a few questions, 3 actually. So the first question is, what is the meaning of the first day of spring for you? Second question is what's the meaning of spring generally as a season? And the third question is how familiar are you with the work of Rachel Carson and her book Silent Spring? So feel free to write your answers in comments or in a questionnaire with the link attached below. Okay, so thank you for your attention and goodbye until the next time.